Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today from McFarlane Toys and their DC Multiverse line, we are featuring Poison Ivy, as portrayed by actress Uma Thurman in the film Batman and Robin. Alright, so I've said this many times in the past, I don't think we get enough Poison Ivy action figures. So when they announced this figure, I was taken back. I was like, kind of like, it's about time. And I was even more surprised that they were diving deep and giving us action figures from the older movies. So for me, this was a pleasant surprise. In terms of the McFarlane toy line, I think this was probably like probably one of my most anticipated action figures. Just because Ivy in general, she doesn't get a lot of action figure love. Of course, you can find a lot of statues of Poison Ivy, but for a character that's a heavy hitter, especially in the DC Comics world, it's a shame she never got as many action figures as she deserves. We're going to jump back into the time machine and travel back to 1997 to take a look at this figure also. I thought it'd be fun to compare, the Poison Ivy figure we got back then versus the one we got now. This also was for the Batman and Robin movie. The likeness, it doesn't look anything like Uma Thurman, but it was cool that we still got a Poison Ivy figure anyways. It almost looks like Mera from the Aquaman comics. But, it's pretty neat. She comes with some cool vine accessories. It was very befitting of the character. I was a huge fan of like the Batman and Robin line of toys, even like the Batman Forever action figures that kind of produced in the mid-90s. Man, this really takes me back. I was in college around this time period, and I was really deep into collecting action figures like Power of the Force, from like the Star Wars stuff. Transformers, they were doing Beast Wars, and then later Beast Machines. G.I. Joe, they were doing G.I. Joe Extreme in the mid-90s. But the superhero stuff, especially with like Batman and Robin, was really awesome. Kenner also did a line of Superman action figures, which were in scale with these, and aesthetically, they kind of existed within the same universe. So just being like a comic book fan is kind of cool. We got all sorts of cool like DC and Batman themed merchandise. But fast forward to today, and the technology has improved a lot. We could make action figures that look like the actual actors, but like kind of like shrunk down. The likeness to Uma Thurman on this figure, it's not spot on. It's close, but it's kind of missing something. Uma has a very unique face, and I think that's kind of missing here. I'm not sure if it's because she has the leaf pieces covering her brow or what, or maybe it's the shape of her jawline, but there's just something a little bit off here. It doesn't capture her likeness completely, but it's kind of close enough. And it's a fantastic looking figure. I'm really impressed with the overall presentation. Like, I think her costume's really well done, the leafy texture and the dry brushing to really bring out the details. It looks fantastic. And then we have Arnold here from the movie poster. Other figures in this assortment include the Alicia Silverstone Batgirl, the Poison Ivy, which we're looking at right now, the Chris O'Donnell Robin, and the Clooney Batman. I've looked at the Robin and the Batman, both great figures. My Clooney figure, though, was kind of like, I had some quality control issues with this one, but it's an outstanding figure nonetheless. And if you didn't buy the Warner Brothers 106 pack that featured all the cinema Batmans, this is your chance to get the Clooney figure solo, but with a plastic cape instead of a cloth one. And let's get Poison Ivy out. Yeah, so I'm excited. The last Ivy figure I got was the DC Direct Jim Lee Hush Poison Ivy from like, I think 2004, I think the figure was from. But this is awesome. I'm a big fan of the McFarlane stuff, and I'm just so stoked that they're tackling the movies. I think there's a lot of potential action figures that we could get from all the different like live actions you know, movies, the TV shows, and they've been dabbling with that. You know, we've gotten like the CW Flash, you know, some Arrowverse figures. I'm really hoping that they give us an Arrowverse Deathstroke. DC Essentials gave us one some years back, and that figure is a beast. I love that figure. It's awesome. Alright, so we have Poison Ivy. It's produced by McFarlane Toys, and it's an outstanding looking figure. Really well detailed on her uniform. The face sculpt, even though it doesn't look exactly like Uma Thurman, it's a nice, you know, the likeness is close enough, and it's such a clean figure. It looks really well done. I'm not sure if it's going to be the case, but I was kind of hoping that maybe they would make an announcement that they were doing figures for the new Suicide Squad video game. Because, you know, we got those figures for Gotham Knights. And even though the game Gotham Knights got kind of lukewarm reviews, I thought the figures were great. And I actually did play the game. I love that game. I know why some people have issues with it because it's, you know, it's not the same as the Arkham games, but I thought that those games were fantastic. And what makes me even crazier is that in Gotham Knights, each character has like a dozen different costumes. And it's a shame that they only made action figures of like only one costume per character. Because some of the characters like Nightwing and like Red Hood, they had some really outrageous looking outfits that I wish they made figures of. Alright, so we have Ivy. Fantastic looking figure. The face sculpt, it's well done, very clean. As is the paint application on the eyes and lips. I love the leafy kind of like costume elements on her forehead above her eyebrows. They look pretty snazzy. The hair is well sculpted. It's a nice vibrant shade of red. It's coming off more orange on camera, but if you saw it in person, it's kind of a nice reddish orange. Again, I'm really stoked on the material of her costume. It looks great. The leafy texture, it's really well sculpted. I love the dry brushing with the lighter green on top to really highlight the edges. Her leggings is kind of like a darker olive green with some highlights painted on top also on the thighs to give it more volume and depth. The vine work here is actually a sculpted detail, so it's kind of a relief, which you could feel. As are toward the bottom of her legs. A nice gradation also. You kind of like go from like a dark, almost black, and it kind of transitions up into this olive green, and then the highlighted color up here. So a lot of volume added onto the character, which is nice. She has the leaf on her hand. Oh man, I really hope they make a Bane figure. I'd love that. But yeah, it's a fantastic looking figure. Articulation, head moves. Does it look down? Kinda. Looking up, not so much, because her hair kind of gets in the way. Articulated arms. It's the ball-socketed butterfly joint. There is no biceps. Oh, there is a bicep swivel. Okay. So there is a bicep swivel cleverly hidden at the top of the sleeve of her glove. Double pinned elbows, articulated wrists, cut beneath the chest line, and it's nice because it kind of blends in well with all the foliage right there. A swivel at the waist. Does she look down? Does she crunch forward? Not really. Arch back. Yes, she does. Kicks upward. Side kicks outward. Very minimal thigh swivel, double pinned knees, articulated ankles and toes. So great action figure. For me, I think it's of the three figures I reviewed in the line so far, it's probably like the one that's exceeded my expectations the most. I didn't really expect a whole lot from this figure, even though I was excited that we were getting an Ivy figure. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do. I think it's outstanding. It's a nice piece. Yeah, it's awesome. It kind of takes me back to some of the figures that we got from DC Direct back in the day. I think it's mostly because of the paint job on the torso. You know, it's kind of reminiscent of that style of craftsmanship and painting we got in action figures like in the late 90s, early 2000s. You know, where it was super hyper detailed. But yeah, great figure. On a scale of 1 to 10, for me, this is a solid 9. It really, really exceeded my expectations. It's awesome. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.